Good evening, Oiler fans, and welcome to the Oilers TV live draft coverage of the first round of the 2021 NHL Draft. I'm your host, Tony Barr. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. The Oilers originally held the 20th overall selection in the entry draft. They did decide to trade down, get picks number 22 and 90. So now they secure a third-round pick with the Minnesota Wild in that trade, going with Xavier Bourgault, who is actually on deck right now with the media availability with his suit and Oilers cap on. Let's go to that now.
Tony was really loud in the background there. Oh, maybe he's gone now.
Yep. Okay. No, he's good. You're good to go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Xavier, welcome to the Edmonton Oilers. Simple question to start off with. How would you describe yourself as a hockey player?
I'm a very offensive player, very creative with the puck, very good in small area. I'm a player who can score goals, but also can make play in a very creative with the puck, so very good in both sides of the ice too.
Tell us a little bit about the pre-draft situation for you in terms of being interviewed, maybe how many teams you talked to, and did you get the sense the Oilers were very interested in you?
I talked with every team, but the interview with the Oilers was a very good one. I think it was one of my best one with the Oilers, and I have a little feeling, but I can't describe the feeling right now. I'm so happy to be drafted by the Oilers.
Next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Yeah, hi, Xavier. Just to kind of piggyback off of Reed's question there. I mean, when they moved down, did you kind of have a feeling that you might go to Edmonton? I know there's probably a lot of teams that you probably maybe thought of, but was there kind of that feeling in your head that you might go?
With the Oilers, it was my best feeling. I know that's the team draft me, but to start the draft, I said the Oilers was my feeling to get drafted, and that's what happened, and I'm so happy. And I think that's a very good organization for me.
What do you know about the team? What do you know about Edmonton?
I know there's a lot of young guys, very good player, very good teams, and I think I will help the team on the offensive side and to win some games and they go in the playoff after.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
Hi, Xavier. Just kind of wonder what kind of guy you are. What other than hockey, what are the things that interest you? Do you have hobbies? Do you have a summer job? What kind of stuff do you do that isn't hockey related?
I'm a guy who very like to train. In the summer, I leave my hometown to live. If in Montreal, it's 4 hours from my hometown, so training is very important. I'm very serious and everything, but I'm a guy who like to play other sport too, like golf, play tennis with my friend, and in the afternoon after my training. So just relax, just hang out with my friend, and like to do some wakeboarding too, and boats.
Okay.
So very like those stuff. Sorry.
Some wakeboard too. That's cool. Your parents. What did your parents do for a living?
My mom, she's a dresser at her home, so she works at my house, and my dad, he works at night in the foundry where they make a piece of car for Ford. Yep.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Xavier, a lot of players can play center or the wing. What do you feel most comfortable playing?
Since my career, I play center, but since 2 to 3 years, I play a lot of right wings. We'll see that I can play both very, very good. If I have to play center, I'll do it. But right now, I'm very, very good at the right wings. That's the position I play with the Shawinigan right now.
And you played very well with Bourque, Maverick Bourque. How did that go?
As you said, he's a very good player, but without him last year and this year when he was not there, I think I did pretty well. I'm a good playmaker, so I can make my teammate better too. So I'm very happy to be drafted by Edmonton. A lot of a good player.
Gemma Carson Smith, Canadian Press.
Xavier, You said that you think that Edmonton's a good fit for you. What is it about the Oilers organization that you think will work so well with you as a player?
Can you repeat the question, please? I don't hear very well.
Yes, absolutely. I asked, you said that you think you're a good fit for Edmonton, that Edmonton's a good fit for you. What is it about the organization that you think works well for you as a player?
I think they help the young guys to get better, and they develop their player very well. Like as I said, there's a lot of great guys. There's those guys like McDavid, Draisaitl, a lot of good veterans, and I think they will help the younger guys. And I think there's a great staff too.
And can you tell us a little bit about what tonight has been like for you? Where are you? Who's around you?
Yeah, right now I'm in Montreal where I live in the summer with all my family, all my friends, and I think there's a 50% here. So it's just amazing to see people happy for me, and I can't describe this moment right now. I'm just shook, I think, right now.
Great. Do we have any other questions in English before we move to French? Okay, we will take a couple questions in French now. We'll start with Guillaume Lepage, NHL.com.
Salut Xavier, félicitations. Tu as dit en anglais que tu avais le feeling que ce serait les Oilers ce soir qui te repêcheraient. Qu'est-ce qui te laissait croire ça plus en détail?
C'est juste la manière que ça s'est passé, la manière qu'ils me parlaient. Je pense qu'ils ont vraiment aimé la façon que j'aurais parlé. Tantôt, j'ai parlé aux dirigeants. Ils m'ont dit qu'ils avaient vraiment aimé mon entrevue. Je pense que la personne que je suis, un gars qui est sérieux, un gars qui est dédié en tout ce qu'il fait, ils ont vraiment aimé ça. Puis je pense que ça va être un bon fit pour moi. Là.
You have a follow-up, Guillaume?
Yeah. La perspective de jouer éventuellement avec des gars comme McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, pour un jeune comme toi qui a sûrement grandi en les voyant jouer, comment est-ce que tu vois ça éventuellement?
Comme tu as dit, c'est des joueurs vraiment incroyables, c'est spectaculaire. C'est des gars que tu vas regarder jouer, c'est des gars que tu veux voir jouer, c'est des gars que tu veux jouer avec. Je pense que juste de jouer avec des gars comme ça serait vraiment incroyable. Puis juste durant le camp d'entraînement, je pense que je vais les regarder jouer, prendre des notes sur eux, la façon qu'ils agissent sur glace. Je pense que ça va juste être bon pour moi pour m'améliorer.
Any other questions, media? Thank you. If there are no more questions, thank you, Xavier, for your time. Congratulations. And please stay tuned, media, for Amateur of Director Scouting, Tyler Wright. Thank you, Xavier.
So as you heard, Director of Amateur Scouting of the Edmonton Oilers, Tyler Wright, is on deck. We'll be hearing from him in just a few moments, so stay tuned for that. So with the 22nd overall pick, it is Xavier Bourgault, a right shot center from Shawinigan, 6-foot center, 172 pounds. Posted 20 goals and 20 assists, as you can see, embracing his parents there when he heard his name called at the 2021 NHL Draft tonight. As there's a look at his profile, I should say. Taking a look at what the scout says, brings it game after game, can beat you in different ways, slippery, and has really good release. That's definitely one of the trademarks of Bourgault. 20 goals, which went again this past season in 29 games. Also added 20 assists. As you can see, he can get it done in many different ways. Again, a right shot center, 6-foot center from Shawinigan, going 22nd overall to the Edmonton Oilers. So stay tuned for Tyler Wright as we continue the Oilers TV live show for the 2021 NHL Draft.
We always ask this, Tyler, what did you like most about Bourgault? And were you surprised, as usual, that he was still there? Is that why you traded back?
You know, we had a cluster of guys. We didn't want to move too far, obviously. You know, we had some guys go right before us that we had targeted. Fortunately, they didn't get to us, and so we made the decision to go to back. We didn't have a second, didn't have a third, so we got a third. We went down 2 picks, and we got our guy.
And what do you like most about him?
Well, he's a high-skilled offensive player. You know, he can play center, he can play the wing. He's got good size, he's got excellent vision, excellent skill. He's a student of the game. He's very competitive. He's a very mature young man that understands. He's got his priorities in order as far as off-ice training and all that stuff. He was very impressive to talk to. He was a guy that we targeted, and we're excited to get him.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, Tyler, you said it, Xavier said it a few minutes ago in his interview, just in regards to playing center in the wing. Where do you think you feel most comfortable, or where do you think he projects for you guys when he gets to the NHL, if he gets in?
Well, obviously, we're projecting him to be a top 6 forward. We want to add to that, to the mix that we've got, and you know, obviously he's got some developing to do, and we've got to give him those resources to do that. But he's got excellent vision. He's got skill. He can play with elite players, and that was very attractive for us.
At 20th, there was a pretty good goaltender there available in Jesper Wallstedt, and obviously, you know, maybe a need for the organization. I don't know if you'd say that, but what went into the decision to ultimately move down and pass on a good goaltender like Wallstedt?
Like I said, we had a cluster of guys, and we had a couple of guys that went before us. And that was the decision we made. We don't have a second, don't have a third. We were able to get a third and get back into the game a little bit earlier tomorrow, and worked out for us.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
So, Tyler, fair to say, I ask this as a guy that doesn't watch amateur players very often, so take it for what it's worth. Fair to say that the Oilers just really weren't that interested in drafting a goalie with their first-round pick, no matter what his name was. Is that fair?
No.
You would have drafted a goalie with your first-round pick, but you chose not to draft this one. How do we characterize that? People back here are kind of just wondering why you pass on Wallstedt. Not critical, just trying to figure out why. That's all.
Because we decided to take a highly skilled forward. That was the decision that we made at the time. I mean, we work at this all year long, and we do our due diligence, and we put guys in order. And you know, were we opposed to taking a goalie in the first round? No, absolutely not. We weren't. But you know, we took a highly skilled forward that we think that we're going to add to a group of players coming in that's going to be pretty exciting for us.
Thank you.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Hey, Tyler. Normally, through the course of a year, you compile a certain amount of data about the players, and you probably sit there after the draft, you know, with a certain feeling of confidence about what you have. Is it any different this time around, just given how different the information gathering was, and you know, how do you think you'll feel about this year's group, just given, you know, the difference in that data? How do you feel sitting there about, you know, your knowledge base on the guy you picked in that really important spot?
Well, to say it was a challenging year, it's an understatement for sure. You know what I mean? But all 32 teams, you know what I mean, for the industry in itself, you mean, it was hard. You mean, the Ontario League doesn't play. Some of the kids went over and played in lesser leagues in Europe. You know, a handful of kids got the opportunity to play at the Under-18 World Championships. You're doing a lot of evaluating on previous viewings as underages. You know, the limited of travel to go overseas. So to say that, you know, for anybody to say that they thoroughly know this draft, I think it's pretty impossible, to be honest. But, you know, we worked hard. We had calls. We had constant communication. We did some traveling, you know, through a pandemic, and you know, the Quebec League was rolling and had periodically stops, you know, through the course of the pandemic. But you know, we were able to get in there, and you know, we liked what we seen. We watched this guy. You know, he's a late birthday, so he's been in the league for 2 years in the Quebec League. So we've watched him for a couple of years, you know, before this year. So I mean, we were happy, obviously. And that's why we took him at 22.
Thanks, Doug.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
I've seen some scouting things, Tyler, that says he's got some of William Nylander in him. Is that so?
You know, I don't like to publicly say who he kind of is. I mean, he's a unique player. I think he plays with a lot of purpose on the ice at all times. He's very patient with the puck. He's very smart. He makes players around him better. He's highly skilled. He can finish. He can score. He can set up. I mean, he can play the center. He can play the wing. So, you know, I don't like to compare and put a label on a young man. I think that, I mean, he has a chance to be a top six forward in the organization, and obviously that's why we target him.
Okay, well, I'll change gears then. The Oilers once took Ales Hemsky from the Quebec League, also a right winger. Is there any of this kid in Ales Hemsky?
I didn't scout Ales Hemsky. I played against him, but I mean, I don't know. You mean, I don't know. You mean at the same age, Jim, I didn't see him play junior hockey at that time. You know, I mean, I saw him play as an NHL player. I mean, he's a highly skilled player. That's all I can say.
Daniel Ninja-Bowman.
Tyler, I'm just curious, do you feel like in this draft that having more picks or getting a pick later in the draft has more value just because of the uncertainty and, you know, there could be so much variance in lists from teams, even more so than other years because of the way that the season played out?
Well, I think there's going to be great value in this draft for sure. I mean, obviously this is one that's going to be studied, you know, with the microscope, you know, going back 3 or 4 years from now when everything kind of comes to fruition. So, you know, we went back 2 spots, and, you know, we got a guy that we were going to take there probably at 19 and get back in the game with the 3rd round. So, you know, we moved back last year, you know, so to gain some extra picks, and we liked, you know, the picks that we got last year. So we're, you know, we debated it. We just kind of thought that it was worth the gamble and, you know, get us back in the game earlier tomorrow.
Great, thank you, appreciate it.
Final question, Ryan Rashad, TSN.
Hey, Sean. Tyler, I think sitting at the table most years, you know, part of working the draft is kind of figuring out what other teams are going to do, who they might be taking, what it looks like. Was this year any different in terms of the amount of information you think teams actually had on one another? Was there any less of a handle on which way things were going just because of how bizarre this year was, or did this feel fairly standard from where you sat?
No, I don't think it was fairly standard. You know, we're all in the same boat, you know, right? We're all trying to figure out what we're trying to do. There was probably more banter, I would say, that was kind of going around that, you know, you had to decipher through whether it was right or whether it was wrong. And at the end of the day, you know, you're speculating. So, you know, you work all year to get your list, you work off your list, and, you know, you're really at the mercy of, you know, the picks that go ahead of you and in front of you. So no, it wasn't normal by any means, but the last 19 months haven't been normal, so kind of fit the bill.
Thanks. Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes tonight's media availability. Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, guys.
So there were the media availabilities for Xavier Bourgault and Director of Amateur Scouting of the Edmonton Oilers, Tyler Wright. As we take a look at the draft board, the top 5 dominated by Michigan Wolverines. Owen Power, Matthew Beniers, Luke Hughes, and Kent Johnson all going in the top 5. Mason McTavish sandwiched in there at pick number 3, going to the Anaheim Ducks. The Oilers originally held the 20th overall selection, again trading down 2 spots and gaining a 3rd-round pick out of the trade with the Minnesota Wild. They went on to draft Jesper Wallstedt, while the Oilers get their guy, Xavier Bourgault, a right shot center, 6 foot, 172 pounds from the Shawinigan Cataract. 20 goals, 20 assists in 29 games last season in the QMJHL. With the late birthday, he has 3 Q seasons under his belt already. We heard from, Tyler Wright mentioning his ability to play with elite players. He played a majority of the year with Maverick Bourque, the 30th overall selection from last season's draft from the Dallas Stars, as they put up some great numbers together. Bourque had 19 goals, 24 assists, and 43 points in the latest campaign in the Q. Went on to record 5 points in 6 AHL games with the Texas Stars. Just a quick little recap on the Oilers pick, courtesy of Sportsnet.ca, written by Josh Benito. The NHL Central Scouting, Jean-Francois Damphous, mentioned he likes how Bourgault processed the game. He has an ability of finding open spots and has an elite scoring touch, as evidenced with his 20 goals in 29 games. He thinks fast, executes fast, and has a good combination of speed and agility. Now, he was asked a question and fielded a question about what position he naturally plays. He did come into the queue playing center for most of his career up until that point, but for the last 2 seasons has mainly occupied the right wing spot alongside Maverick Bourque. Says he's comfortable playing either position, which is asked of him when he comes to the next level. And speaking of the next level, he did mention, first of all, I need to work out in the gym and get stronger, he said in an interview with CHL.ca. At the next level, guys are very strong, very fast, so I've been working a lot on my speed and explosiveness, but certainly a good foundation to be a first-round pick in the National Hockey League. Again, Xavier Bourgault, rounds 2 through 7 will go on Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. Again, the Oilers picking up a 3rd-round pick. Originally, their next pick would have been in the 4th round, but they pick up the 90th overall selection, which was originally the Pittsburgh Penguins in a trade with the Minnesota Wild. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on Oilers TV and EdmontonOilers.com, so stay tuned throughout the weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night.